by carrying one set to a point of momentary muscular failure. And having achieved that by going to failure on one set, it is neither necessary nor desirable to do another set.
And it was Mike Mentzer being like, people always ask me, you just do one set. Why wouldn't you do another? That's like the stupidest idea in the world. And it's like, multiple set programs were proven more effective definitively in the early 2000s. Since then, it's not even up for debate. Like, there are 52 set per week programs, 45 set per week programs, 27 set per week programs, 18 set per week programs that all outperform the smaller set per week programs that were compared in those studies directly.
Taking a quick moment here, quick video, to discuss largely the Mike Mentzer high-intensity training and how popular that's become over the last year or so, which is funny because there's nothing new there. Like, Mike Mentzer is from, years and years prior. But for whatever reason, his training methodologies came back around, and a lot of people were like, yes, this is the way, which is hilarious to me because this is just a cycle that repeats. And there's a lesson to be learned here. When it comes to health and fitness research, the reason why there is so much disagreement and why it seems like the science is always changing is because a lot of stuff works. That's kind of what it comes down to. I think it's very important that we have this health and fitness and nutrition research. I think it's important that we keep on, doing studies, but it's important to keep in mind that to some extent we've kind of learned what we need to learn in order to discover like what is optimal for an individual. So it's kind of just a matter of applying these various different approaches to the individual, because that's something that we really need to keep in mind in the fitness equation, is that everybody is different. Everybody's bodies are going to respond a little bit differently. Genetics are a bit different, or very different in a lot of cases. The laundry list of variables to consider are, it's a long list. It's a big list. And that's why, again, there's so much disagreement surrounding all of these different approaches. So again, going back to the Mike Mentzer thing, his big thing is high intensity training, which is extremely, like, on the spectrum of extremes, like, it is extremely low volume. Like, it is, as extreme as 2 workouts a week in some cases, 1 set per exercise, going all out to and past failure. And the funny thing is, again, this is clearly a method that works. Like, you look at Mike Mentzer, you look at his brother, you look at other people who've done or utilized this approach, and they get great results. So then it's to say, oh, well, this is the way, right? And it's like, well, no, because you have somebody like Schwarzenegger who did not train with that low of volume. He had a bit more volume in his training, and he as well got fantastic results. Big consideration here too is that both Mentzer and Schwarzenegger, on steroids, of course, on performance-enhancing drugs. But even without the drugs in consideration, you look at other people, like you have Jeffrey Verdi Schofield. He's very big into higher volume training, and he, I believe him to be a natural lifter, and he looks incredible. He's had consistent progress, and what more can you say there?
Now, we all know these scientists up in their ivory towers. They're all doing high-intensity training, but they release these studies as misinformation so that most people, they spin their wheels doing ultra-high volume because they want to keep all the gains for themselves. It's a zero-sum gain.
So I get bothered by just this constant fluctuation of oh, this is the way, no, this is the way, no, this is the way. It's like, there's a lot of different ways, and I encourage people to kind of experiment for themselves and see what works for them. That's kind of the point of this video at the end of the day. It's not really to shit on any one approach in particular. I mean, personally, I would hate training like Mike Mentzer with the high-intensity training. Not that I don't train intensely. I actually do push to and past failure on many of my sets, but just the low volume, he's on the record as saying, don't be a slave to the gym.
Throughout human history, men have done all they could to avoid slavery, and here in the latter part of the 20th century, there's a group of knuckleheads who seem to willfully embrace the role of beast of burden.
Or something along those lines. And it's like, I love working out. I love being at the gym. This is not like me being enslaved. This is something that I get pure pleasure out of. Don't overanalyze that. And the other thing too is a lot of these people obsessing over the Mike Mentzer principles. I really don't think that they're going to be able to train with those principles in mind, because the whole point is that you're doing this low volume simply because you are training so intensely that's all your body can handle. So we have to assume that the trainee is going to be able to push that hard with that intensity, which I just don't really believe is going to be the case with most trainees personally. You know, at the end of the day too, I feel like the answers tend to lie kind of in the middle of things as opposed to on extremes. But again, I don't want to discourage people from experimenting and seeing what might work best for them. So yeah, quick video, but I just wanted to get that out there because I'm just seeing just so many different Mike Mentzer videos popping up in my feed constantly. So clearly very popular. And again, funny seeing how he's from a completely different era and it's just the information's come back around. And then, you know, we have this recent study that's saying, oh, you know, 52, I think it's like 52 sets per week or something like that is optimal for building muscle. And it's like, of course, that is anything but low volume. But even then, you can't really take that study at face value because there's a lot more to consider when you actually read the study itself. It's not just 52 sets per week or whatever the number was. There's always more to consider. And then there's the whole can of worms of, you know, this has been mostly focused to nutrition, this video, but there's the can of worms that is nutrition. And then you have somebody who's like, oh, keto is the way. And then you see this person, they look great, they perform great in the gym. And then there's another person who's like, oh no, you must be eating your carbs. And then same kind of thing. They have their own successes. And then it's like, you know, what do you listen to? And at the end of the day, a lot of things work. Which is not to say that everybody's going to have the same successes from trying XYZ, but you got to try in order to know. So thanks for watching. And oh gosh, you can see look at that. A little bit of inception going on here with these reflective glasses here.